This is KSL Sports Live, broadcasting from the Mountain Home Services studios.
Thanks for staying up with us. Our NHL hockey team has a name. Ryan Smith on how the franchise came up with the branding for the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, we also had 2 Stanley Cup playoff games on Sunday, and we look ahead to what could be a franchise-changing day for the Utah Jazz.
We hope, but we begin the show with the NBA playoffs. The Denver Nuggets, despite a coaching change late in the season, could take a 3-1 series lead Sunday in the Western Conference semifinals.
Yeah, but to do that, they would have to fight through fatigue. 5 games in the last 8 days, including a Game 7 victory against the Clippers.
How much did they have left in the tank as they try to take that 3-1 lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder? Well, it didn't look good early. The Thunder built a 15-point lead on the road. A Cason Wallace-Steele leads when Isaiah Hartenstein dunk. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander keeps the pressure on late in the first half with a spectacular and one. Nikola Jokic had 27 points and 13 rebounds to keep the Nuggets in it. He cuts the Thunder lead down to 7 at the half. We go to the third quarter. Great ball movement leads to an easy dunk for Chet Holmgren. But the Nuggets keep fighting, and they take their first lead on an Aaron Gordon 3. What a playoffs he's having. But in the fourth quarter, the Thunder would retake the lead after a 10-0 run, with SGA closing things out with a driving layup. He had 25. The Thunder win 92-87 and head back to Oklahoma City with the series tied at 2.
Game 4, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers leading the series 2-1. Things in this series starting to get fiery. Look at the free throw line here. Benedict Mathurin shoves a closed fist into DeAndre Hunter. He takes exception, pushes back. But after review, it was Mathurin who was ejected for throwing the punch. That must have fueled the Pacers because look at this. Obi Toppin drives baseline, up and under for 2. Tyrese Halliburton, no-look pass to Miles Turner, the and 1. Halliburton from 30 feet, then Turner from 30. A 41-point lead, 80-point first half. Donovan missed the second half with an injury. Cavs had no chance. Pacers lead 3-1.
Carlson with 7 will chip it down the boards. There's nobody to help him. A centering feed. Here's Riley Smith. Wade shoots, hit the post. He hit the post at the buzzer. Vegas is bench is celebrating.
I think this one in the net.
Wow.
You believe that?
Wow.
What a finish last night in Game 3 between the Oilers and Golden Knights. There it is. Riley Smith of Vegas beats the buzzer by 0.4 seconds and beats the Oilers, who lead the series now 2-1. 2 goals have been scored in the final second to tie or win the game just in the last week. So far in this year's Stanley Cup playoffs, 41% of the games played have been decided by 1 goal.
A lot of exciting games. All 3 of the second-round games between the Maple Leafs and Panthers, those have been 1-goal games, each team winning on their home ice so far. Tonight, Game 4 back in Sunrise, Florida. 87% of the teams with a 3-1 lead in the series in the NHL advance. Leafs trying to secure that advantage today, but in the first period, Florida on the power play. Matthew Tkachuk cross to Carter Verhaeghe for the goal. Panthers take the 1-0 lead. Then in the second period, Sam Bennett chases down the puck, brings it across the middle, waits and fires a wrister in for the score, but fireworks to end the game. Max Domi with the hit leads to a scrum. Panthers do even this series, though, up at 2 games each.
That hit will linger into the next game. Now to the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs in the West. Game 3, Jets and Stars. The Stars took a 2-1 lead in the first period. Thomas Harley beats Connor Hellebuck. The Jets tie it up in the second. A great move by Josh Morris. He gets space and he sets up. All right, the Utah Mammoth are well represented at the International Ice Hockey Federation World Championships. Barrett Hayton scored a goal Sunday for Team Canada in a win over Latvia, while his American teammates were facing Hungary. 4 Utah Mammoth players on Team USA: Logan Cooley, Clayton Keller, Josh Doan, and Michael Kesselring. First period, Logan Cooley with an assist to Frank Nazar for the game's first goal. Then in the third period, 2 Utah Mammoth teammates connect. Clayton Keller, the captain, to Cooley for the goal to make it 6-0. Team USA now 2-0 in group play. Utah Mammoth goaltender Karel Vejmelka plays for his country, Czechia. They were facing Norway at Worlds, and Vejmelka had 22 saves on 23 shots. He helped Czechia get their first win of the tournament. David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins with the winning goal.
I don't know how many more of these press conferences we're going to have together, but it seems like we're kind of towards the end of this. But
no, we can keep going.
Yeah, we will. When we etch Utah Mammoth and Lord Stanley's Cup, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, I'd say so. That was just moments into the name and logo reveal press conference for the Utah Mammoth on Wednesday, and Ryan Smith already linking that new name to the most famous trophy in professional sports. Can't wait for that to happen. Just a portion of the excitement that was oozing out of Delta Center on Wednesday for the Utah Mammoth announcement. It's crazy to think that 54 weeks ago, an NHL hockey team was just barely arriving in our state. No name, no colors, no logo yet. Just a bunch of players with hockey sticks and skates teaming up with a hungry fan base and an ambitious and aggressive owner that wants to win. And all of those aspects combined have led to where we are today. In the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where a franchise that just barely missed the playoffs was talked about more than any other team in the league last week, all because the Utah Mammoth name and logos revealed after nearly 1 million fan votes led to that conclusion. Merchandise already on sale at the team store, flying off the shelf. The Smiths quick to credit our state and growing fan base for building this identity.
But there's one thing that we haven't really had to trust. It's something that we knew, and those in Utah know it, that Utah shows up. And I think Utah has shown up at every single part of this process, but this entire identity has been chosen by our community, and I don't think people thought we would actually go for it, but we did, and we landed in the spot that we're pretty excited about, and we know that the community wanted because they chose it. And that's what this whole experience is about.
And Utah should be proud because we get to go build a culture around this strong identity. I'm just excited. I'm excited.
This has been the ultimate team effort for the ultimate team sport. And while you may be thrilled to have us, we're thrilled to be part of Utah and are grateful. Everything, you're going to groan with what I'm about to say, but it just popped into my head. Everything you've tried to do and everything you've done has been a mammoth undertaking.
In 3-2, it's out to the gap in left center. Dylan Cruz laying out. Spectacular play.
Yeah, wow. Dylan Cruz of the Washington Nationals against the St. Louis Cardinals. This ball hit to center at a 5% chance of getting caught, according to analytics. Cruz liked his odds. What an effort on Mother's Day. There have been several brothers who have had a chance to play Major League Baseball at the same time. The Necro brothers, the DiMaggios, the Alous, Alomars, and the Molinas.
Yeah, imagine how proud their mothers must have been, of course, right? The latest brother duo in the big leagues, it's Josh and Jace Young.
What a day for Mary Young, their mother. She had two sons playing in the same Major League Baseball game on Mother's Day. Josh Young of the Texas Rangers and Jace Young of the Detroit Tigers, both third basemen. Josh was able to find a better Mother's Day gift. Not fair. Fifth inning, he hits one out of the park for Mom. A two-run shot to make it 5-0. Josh Young and the Rangers get the victory.
Twins are the hottest team in baseball, hosting the Giants. Game goes to extra innings, tied at 5. Giants' David Villar grounds out, but Jung-Hoo Lee scores to make it 6-5. Now the Twins' turn. Ryan Jeffers grounds out, but Ty France scores to tie the game back at 6. So here we go. Deshaun Kiersey Jr., the former Ute, coming through with the RBI single to score Brooks Lee, and the Twins win it 7-6 in walk-off fashion.
Braves and Pirates. Braves down 3-0 in the
for this season, 2 shots ahead of Justin Thomas and Shane Lowry.
We have to take a quick break. An NBA draft lottery preview is on the way.
And some locals in the NFL are making their rookie camp debut.
Seconds ago, we were just like 10 back, so it's like it still hasn't sunk in.
Some hope and inspiration for Utah Jazz fans. If the Utah Mammoth can move up 10 spots in the lottery, anything can happen Monday night. How having the 4th instead of the 14th pick in the NHL draft impacts what the Utah Mammoth will do this offseason.
4th overall selection belongs to the Utah Hockey Club.
Wow!
Oh, that's incredible. We're going out for dinner tonight.
Yeah, and Chris is buying. What a week for the Utah Mammoth before they unveiled the new team name, logos, and branding we've all been waiting for. The franchise got an absolute gift in Monday's NHL Draft Lottery. They did the improbable, winning the second draw in the NHL Draft Lottery, allowing them to move up the maximum 10 spots from 14th to 4th. Utah had an exact 1.5% chance of rising those 10 spots. General Manager Bill Armstrong, who you just saw there, called this a, quote, game changer, a massive chance to add a top-tier prospect for a team that was in the playoff hunt until late in the season and didn't have to suffer through a miserable regular season to get that high of a pick. The first round of the NHL Draft will take place on June 27th.
To pick at 4, I mean, like we were just a couple seconds ago, we were just like 10 back. So it's like it still hasn't sunk in. But what a great opportunity for us! It's a game changer for us. So I can't wait to huddle with the scouts tomorrow and go over it and kind of see. You know, obviously we'd been studying the players that were available to us where we thought they'd fall. Now we're gonna, you know, obviously leap up a little bit, and it's going to be exciting times. But I mean, just great stuff for the franchise. I can't express in words on the excitement of when that happened and the opportunity in front of us. Normally, you know, you sit in these things and sometimes nobody moves and you go home, you know, unhappy, or you got bumped down a spot and you're going home happy. But we'll never forget this moment. This is truly a great moment in the franchise.
The Mammoth now feature a talented young core of Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, and just signed goalkeeper Karel Vejmelka to a new extension. Now a team that finished 7 points back of a playoff spot will have a chance to add another elite prospect. And this gives Bill Armstrong even more resources to improve the roster, along with a ton of cap space. They can do a lot of different things. So how much does it change the approach to team building in the offseason?
It doesn't really change the rebuild. You know, our goal this year was to have a strong team that had a chance to get into the playoffs and that could compete, and at the same time go back into the draft with all our picks and swing. And so we have that ability to do that, and that was what we set out to do. And one pick's not going to change our franchise. Now there's a lot of higher quality talent that's up top. So we'll get a better look at it. But right now we'll celebrate a little bit and get down to some work tomorrow.
All right, so what could the Mammoth do with the number 4 pick in the draft? Here are some options here. Michael Misa scored 62 goals in 65 games this year for his OHL club. James Hagens had 37 points in 37 games at Boston College last season. Most mock drafts, though, have 6'3", 207-pound right winger Porter Martone, one of the Brampton Steelheads, going to Utah at number 4, the first round of the draft, taking place on June 27th. So if Utah does, in fact, use the 4th overall pick and take one of those prospects, don't expect to see them in a Mammoth sweater anytime soon, right? That player will join the accumulation of prospects that Utah currently is developing for the future. But could Bill Armstrong package the pick and trade it for a veteran player? Don't sleep on a draft day trade. We saw Armstrong wheel and deal last season. He traded for Mikhail Sergachev and John Marino on draft day. They also traded back into the first round to take a second player on day 1. Tija Ginla and Cole Baudouin were those players. Utah has selected 8 players in the first round in the last 4 years. They added those 2 first-round picks last year, 2 first-round picks in 2023 with Dmitry Simashev and Daniil Boot, 3 in 2022, including Logan Cooley, 3rd overall, Dylan Gunther in 2021 at 9th overall. You know, considering the depth of talent they now have in their system, Armstrong expects a lot of phone calls come draft day.
I think people will try and get into that pick. They'll try and get, you know, they want to acquire it. They'll look at our team and say, listen, this team's had more picks in the last 4 years than any other NHL team. Can we go in there and give them a good player and for exchange for the pick? So I think that's something that obviously, you know, we'll always talk about. We'll never shut that door. That's always been an avenue for us to get players, and we're at the position right now as a team where we're trying to make that next step. So we'll always look at that. That's part of the process.
It's going to be an exciting month and a half. NHL draft taking place that last weekend in June. Along with that 4th overall pick, Utah holds the 46th pick in the 2nd round and the 78th pick in the 3rd round. And they have the 5th most salary cap room in the NHL, just under $8 million to spend. NHL free agency beginning July 1st, so right after that draft.
Boy, can't wait for all of this. Well, it came as no surprise, but on Wednesday, Cam Rising made an announcement about his football future.
Yeah, the quarterback who took the Utah program to new heights, but also battled some pretty frustrating injuries, announced that he is retiring from football.
Yeah, Rising made a statement on social media that said, in part, I've been advised by 2 orthopedic physicians that I will never be able to return to playing football. That hand is just not healing the way he wants it to. Quote, I will continue to rehab and do all I can to get healthy. In the meantime, I will unfortunately be forced to medically retire from the game I love. Thank you guys for always pushing me to improve and just making this game enjoyable. Thank you to the coaches for guiding me in the right direction to become a better man and football player. Lastly, thank you to all the fans. You all made the moment special.
Well, Cam left some very memorable moments in his Utah uniform. We got our first look at him in 2021. Utah was trailing 24-10 in the 3rd quarter against San Diego State when Kyle Whittingham benched Charlie Brewer for Rising. Rising threw 2 touchdowns in regulation and a 2-point conversion to Solomon Enos with 16 seconds left to send the game to overtime. The Utes would lose that game, but that was just the beginning for Cam.
Yeah, the one game that made Cam Rising a Utah legend came in 2022. Debatable, of course, but with Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans in Rice-Eccles Stadium, Rising threw for 415 yards, 2 touchdowns, 60 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, one with 48 seconds left to cut the lead to 1. And then, of course, right here, the game-winning 2-point conversion. What a moment that was to give the Utes a thrilling come-from-behind win.
In 2021 and 22, Rising led the Utes to back-to-back Pac-12 championship games. The first against the Oregon Ducks. The Utes blew out the Ducks 38-10. Rising threw a touchdown in that win. Then beating USC for the 2nd time in 2022. Rising threw for 310 yards, 3 touchdowns, outscoring USC 27-7 in the 2nd half. And he displayed his toughness. He took that huge hit where he lost his helmet, but popped right back up in that game as well.
With those championship wins, 1 touchdown before leaving that game. Of course, we wish Cam the best as he moves forward. He's going to be the offensive coordinator at his high school that he went to in Southern California. So he's going to start his coaching career. And he thanked Coach Ludwig last week that helped him prepare for this next moment in his football career. All right, we have to take another break. More Utah Jazz on the way.
Yeah, Will Hardy has a new contract. What is he saying about that extension? And well, why not? Let's put on our dancing shoes. Time to celebrate some state titles in high school sports. It's coming up right around the corner. Let's jump into that KSL Sports time machine. This week we take you back 37 years ago this weekend. The Western Conference semifinals, game 2 between the Jazz and Lakers. The Jazz showed up at the Forum. Magic Johnson led the Lakers with 19 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. But Stockton and Malone did their thing. They combined for 48 points. Stockton with 13 assists. The mailman had 10 boards. Mark Eaton, 12 rebounds and blocked 7 shots. Thurl Bailey added 20 off the bench. The Jazz won that game 101-97. What a series that was.
Hopefully we can get back to those glory years here in the future. The Utah Jazz and owner Ryan Smith made it very clear this week. Head coach Will Hardy is not only the best man to lead the team through a rebuild, but also beyond. They have come to an agreement with head coach Will Hardy on a new contract extension that'll run through 2031. The Jazz showing confidence in Hardy despite the 17-65 record last season, the worst in the NBA. But management remain hopeful for a solid draw in this upcoming NBA draft and have plenty of financial space to make some big moves in free agency if needed.
You know, I'm all in on the Utah Jazz. I'm incredibly humbled and grateful to have this opportunity. You know, there are very few moments where I'm really at a loss for words, and this is one of those where the perspective on all of it, the understanding of the commitment that they're making to me and to our staff, we're a group that's very committed to the process of building a championship level team. And we said in the beginning, and we will continue to say, that does not mean that there aren't hard moments. But I think that those hard moments are ultimately what makes it all worth it in the end. And we're excited to continue to work. You know, I love representing this organization I love representing our community and our fan base. So it's a really exciting day.
Well, you know, amidst all the excitement this past week with winning the draft lottery and then the name and logo release for the Utah Mammoth, another equally exciting story nearly went unnoticed. Commissioner Gary Bettman mentioning that the NHL is looking at Utah for an NHL outdoor game. Ryan Smith has been on Bettman's radar for quite some time now, from publicly stating his desire to own an NHL expansion team to the massively successful welcome and first season of an NHL team in Utah. Even when he turned to a public vote for the new team name Bettman, he noticed. And he did think it was a little crazy, but taking chances like that is what the NHL has liked about Smith so far, and the NHL could reward Utah with a coveted outdoor game soon.
Now, for the community, weighing in on the treatment of a team's identity, yeah, we thought it was crazy. But we do crazy pretty good. Whether or not it's playing outdoor games, which we're going to do next season, 2 of them in Florida, or conducting a lottery where you moved up 10 spots. You know, we'll have one here too. Not to worry, we've already done a site visit.
How about that? All right, a lot to look forward to. But also, as another school year comes to a close, so does another season of high school sports.
Yeah, we got state titles up for grabs this week in baseball, softball, soccer, and boys volleyball.
All right, let's get it started. Number 6 Morgan on the upset hunt against top-ranked Ogden. In boys soccer, near the end of the first half, Morgan down a goal. Luke Francis receives a gift in prime position, and the jump kick sends it through the post. The game's tied at 1. Less than 5 minutes to play. Ogden awarded a penalty kick, and Jace Rodriguez is initially denied, but he follows the miss and puts the Tigers up 2-1. The Ogden Tigers reign again, back-to-back titles. They win 2-1.
We knew it was going to be tough, but my boys are resilient and dug deep and got the job done, you know. So proud of my boys for just, again, digging deep and finishing, you know, our goal, which is obviously going undefeated and getting that state.
The top two teams in Class 2A faced off for their title match, American Heritage and Miser Prep. 19th minute, off the corner kick, Cale Tillman slides in. American Heritage strikes first, 1-0. 27th minute, Joe Mammoth's shot is blocked, but Denzel Sonokori puts the equalizer in on the rebound. Then in the 61st minute, Miser's Jaden Gardner takes the ball in the box, turns, shoots, scores. Miser's up 2-1. Then in the 77th minute now, Noah Johnson, some clever dribbling here, gets through the defenders, and this goal here puts it away. Miser wins its first ever state championship in any sport.
A lot of these guys have been on those teams. Those seniors they've been this close a lot, and this year they finally went all the way.
I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure it'll hit me a little bit harder later, but I mean, right now it's just totally euphoric.
All right, now to softball in Class 3, where Grantsville has ruled as Queens of the Diamond over the past 2 years with back-to-back championships. A shot to make it 3 in a row. This weekend, the Cowgirls needing just 1 win over Emory in Spanish Fork. We'll go to the bottom of the first. 1 on for Hayden, by the way. Oh, by the way, it is out of here. Grantsville out to a 3-0 lead, and they just kept building that lead. Bottom of the 6th, 1 more run. And they're going to win on the mercy rule. Addison Durfee gets this through the gap. Runner scores from second. Ball game and championship. Grantsville with their 3rd straight title, 11-1.
It's the best feeling in the world, right? I mean, to win your 3rd in a row state championship, these girls have earned it. I mean, you feel just terrific, yeah.
I think we had more motivation because we didn't want it to be as stressful as last time, and I'm glad we pulled through. Like, I'm so happy that my team could end the season with such a big win.
In 2A, South Sevier with only 1 loss the entire season, playing Beaver in the championship game. Bottom 1, a 3-run shot for the Rams. Caitlin Nielsen South Severe's up 5-0 early. Then in the 6th, Beavers cut that lead to 2 with the single up the middle. But in the bottom half of that same inning, Kinley Phelps adds some insurance, and South Severe wins its second softball title, the last one coming in 2004.
It's actually huge. Last time we took state, I was a junior in high school, so we're just bringing it back. Our goal was to change the community of softball in our area, and we're doing our best.
I really just want to do it for my team. It's a family. It's my family, and I just want to be the best for them.
The South Severe baseball team with a chance to win the 2A state baseball title as well. They defeated Kanab in 2 games. Biggs, Northrop with 4 RBIs and a 2-run home run. How cool is that to play at BYU? State titles for softball and baseball. Congrats to the Rams. All right, up next, state titles up for grabs in boys volleyball. Could Maple Mountain repeat? And who won 6A? Find out next. The second year of boys volleyball in our state. Mountain Ridge and Bingham met up for the 6A state title. Miners leading 2-1, match point. Sentinels return is long and out of bounds, and the Bingham Miners win their first ever boys volleyball title, 3-1.
5A boys title match, Wasatch and Maple Mountain for their own slice of glory. The Golden Eagles dominate. They win in straight sets on match point. The block right there clinched it all. A perfect undefeated season for Maple Mountain, your 5A state champions.
Let's go to Class 4A, the #1 seed Orem taking on the 7 seed Timpanogos. A battle for Orem. Third set, Lucky Jennings with a nice setup for Luke Woolsey to finish it off. And the Orem Tigers are celebrating. They are your 4A state boys volleyball champions.
Feels good. Feels good to finally have a state championship after last year. We lost in a thrilling 5-setter with Pineview, so it feels good to actually finally win it.
It's amazing. Last year I was here and we took that loss. That was the worst thing ever. And I've driven nothing else except for winning this.
Dude, I was like, it cannot end like last year. I need to be able to take this out. But it worked out, and I'm so happy.
Alrighty, time for the 3A boys title game. 8th-seeded Grantsville all the way to the finals, facing 3rd-seeded Morgan. Morgan ends the fun for Grantsville. That's your championship winning point. Kevin Wangsgard putting it over. Took all 5 sets, but Morgan is the 2025 3A boys volleyball champs.
I agreed to coach this team, and it's the challenge we wanted to take. It was our goal last season. We fell short, and so that was our motto all year, is like unfinished business.
All right, congrats to all the champions. We got more champions to crown this coming week. You can stream all of these things live on the KSL Sports you see right there on the screen. Download that app and watch all the high school championships.